All right, call to order the Farragut Beer Board for December 12th, 2019. Everybody on the board had a chance to look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is a beer permit request for approval of a Class 1 on-premise beer permit for First Watch Restaurant located at 11682 Parkside Drive.
Yes, sir. The applications and information are all in order, and the motion is to approve the Class 1 on-premise beer permit for First Watch at 11682 Parkside Drive.
So moved.
For,
Do I need to be here?
yeah, well, I was going to ask you to step forward and say a few words.
I presume that. How are you all?
Great. Good. Good to see you.
So we are going to be, I'm sorry,
Name and address.
Nadeem Jabran, First Watch, the Daytime Cafe. Home address, 1229 Y Tower Drive,
Thank you.
Knoxville,
update.
Tennessee.
Okay.
So we will be remodeling mid-February, and we will be incorporating a bar. We've never had this before, obviously. This will be our first in East Tennessee. First Watch, we're a franchise. First Watch has been testing this for over a year now in different markets, Tampa, Nashville, Columbus, Ohio, and out in Arizona. So we feel it's part of the experience now for many generational people, whether they're going to have a drink for lunch or breakfast or brunch on Saturdays or Sundays. So we feel it's an important move. It's a big step for us because it's our first. So we will be making that investment in Farragut.
So you'll have mimosas and Bloody Marys?
That's right. That's right.
Well, we take the sale of alcohol beverages in the town of Farragut very seriously. Have you, are you signed up for training, and have you got going through that process now?
Yeah, so we will be going through all the state requirements through ABC, and also we will have a corporate trainer come in and train our team how to make them. So there's no free pours. So you can't come in and just make your own cocktail. It will all be batched out in the morning and poured at the table. So, and we are doing a 2-drink max per person.
Oh, wow.
Great.
Okay.
We have a kit here that I would like to give you
Thank
before
you.
you leave, and it should help with checking to make sure that there are no underage drinkers.
Yes, that's
great.
very important.
Very important to us.
Absolutely, we agree wholeheartedly.
All right, are there any other questions or comments from the board members?
So when do you think you'll be done?
We hope it'll be about, because we will not close. I mean, ideally we won't close, and we'll work from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Where are you guys putting it? Is it going to be closer to the front of it or to
No,
the
so
rear?
it'll actually currently we have a T that divides the
Yeah.
restaurant, and then the T actually divides the restaurant from the kitchen. We will incorporate that as part of the kitchen, because you have to be able to go back and forth. You can't have a separate bar from that. So it'll be a focal point right when you walk in the restaurant.
On the right?
I'm sorry?
Be on the right?
No, it'll be straight in the center.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That
So
should be interesting.
it'll be a nice focal point. And we've been trying to do this at other restaurants that we've tried to, and Asheville was going to be our first, but that lease fell through. So our first one will be here in Farragut, and we're excited about it. So.
We're excited too. So
All right, any other comments, questions?
None.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Very good, you're approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Good, if you'll
And
step
Merry
up.
Christmas.
Will you get with Julie to do a ribbon cutting for the Chamber of Commerce? Will you do something like that? Okay. That way we know.
Real big.
We appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there any other business for the beer board?
No, sir.
All right, if not, we are adjourned.
Okay, the time is approximately 7:02, and December 12th, 2019, Farragut Board Mayor and Alderman meeting will now come to order.
The John Schoonmaker's still here.
Okay, we'll first have a prayer by Pastor Bob, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we know that you come to us in many ways, and especially at this time of year, we think of you coming at Christmas. We also know that you come in happy communities and through good government. So we ask you to bless our town of Farragut and to bless these, our leaders, and be with us tonight as we go to work in your name. Amen.
Next will be agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda as presented?
No, sir.
None. If not, with the quorum, I'll ask for a motion.
Move to approve the agenda?
All in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Let the record show that the motion to adopt tonight's agenda has been approved. Okay, Mayor's report. Start off with, I want to thank Bud McKelvey and his public works staff for setting the stage for success of the 9th Annual Light the Park, and Sue Stool and her staff for organizing the best event yet. It was a great crowd with great weather. Also want to thank Sue for her and her staff, along with the Arts and Beautification Committee, for a great Celebrate the Seasons event at Town Hall. All the kids had the best time ever. I'll now yield the floor to the Vice Mayor for her report.
One, I wanted to acknowledge John Schoonmaker, our county commissioner, is in the audience. And John Schoonmaker has been elected, you're elected? Yes. To serve on the Tennessee County Services Association Board of Directors. We have not had a representative from the Knox County serve on that for 20 years. So that is a really big honor, and John he's a bulldog when it comes to making sure that we're getting what we need from the state, and he's taking care of business, and we always appreciate his efforts.
Well, thank you. And just to keep it simple, the Tennessee County Services Association is actually the umbrella organization of the Tennessee County Mayors, Tennessee County Commissioners, and the Tennessee County Road Superintendents. So that's what's really a good thing. And it gives me a continued opportunity, as David knows, that I've been trying to get that sales tax administration fee reduced. So now it gives me more leverage, having the opportunity to be around the 95 county mayors, as well as my colleagues across the state. So I was really honored to have that opportunity. So thank you for
John.
recognizing me.
And I'm sure John will be very vocal and make sure that Knox County gets its due, which we always benefit from. I also wanted to point out the dance team, Farragut High School and Farragut Middle School, are champions, won state titles once again. I think they both won last year in the jazz and pom categories. I would love to celebrate them, but I'm going to wait for them to go to nationals, because sure enough, they'll probably win there too. So we'd like to celebrate when they have all of their medals.
Awesome.
And just a final note, Bill Lee was here last week visiting Farragut High School. He spent a good long time touring the high school, talking with Dr. Bartlett. So Dr. Bartlett had a long time to explain to him, as great as Farragut High School is, we have some great needs as well, technology, and he's trying to build up our CTE program, especially welding or auto mechanics or engineering, construction, something along the lines where the kids can get their hands dirty, because we're bringing in kids all of our kids aren't necessarily college-bound kids, even though we are a very high-performing high school. So it was wonderful that we could have Bill Lee there. It was wonderful that Dr. Bartlett was able to show off all the wonderful things happening in Farragut High School. And we had all of our principals there, because they were all honored for being growth schools. What is, I forget what the...
Reward schools.
Reward schools. So great things are happening in our town. And one final note, we have our captain, Brad Hall, in the arena. So we finally have somebody else we can call if things are going on in Farragut High School. Farragut, the town of Farragut. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you, sir.
We're excited to have you back.
Yes, we are.
That's all I had.
Okay, any of the other aldermen have anything to report?
I have none.
And if not, We'll move on to presentation of the comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019.
Yes, sir. We have a new face this year. Bob decided to retire on me. I've had Bob for 18 years. But I have Sarah now, which is just as pleasant. And she's going to go over the CAFR with you all.
Thank you. And do you all have a copy? If
We do.
Flip through? Okay,
I have a couple of extra.
sure. Just in case you have any questions or want to flip through.
Speaking into the microphone so we can all hear
Sure.
you.
Here, I have one.
Actually, oh, yeah, that's fine.
She's got one.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Actually, I think I left it in the car. With all the other versions from the last 10 years.
So this is my first year on the audit. My name is Sarah Mosscript, and I'm with Whitlock and Company. Used to be Ingram, Overholt, and Bean. We have now merged in Alcoa, Tennessee. This is my first year on the Farragut audit, but I've been with the firm for 7 years and done government audits a little longer than that. There's a few required communications that we need to make as part of our professional standards. Just bear with me for a moment. But the audit was performed in accordance with generally accepted audit standards, which means that the audit was designed to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatement. We consider internal control as part of our planning, but we do not give an opinion on it. There were no significant findings, no disagreements with management, and no uncorrected mistakes that we consider to be material. What everybody wants to know, was it a clean? It is a clean opinion, unqualified opinion, which is the highest opinion we can give. If you want to just flip,
Nothing less.
if you want to flip through or not, either way, and if you have questions, please just feel free to ask. I just wanted to cover a couple of the statements within and go over what they mean and any significant points to point out. The management discussion and analysis, it starts on page 14. It's really a narrative overview put together by Allison that gives us detail on the hows and whys of the financial happenings of the year. It gives you a detail of the current and ongoing capital projects, and it also gives you a little bit of a budget information about the upcoming, which is this current fiscal year. I would encourage you to read through that if you haven't, because that's really where you're going to get the detail about, okay, well, if this account changed significantly, why? And Allison's really gone into detail and told you why. Next, we have the government-wide statements, and they begin on page 21. So these statements encompass all of the assets and the liabilities of the town, both short-term and long-term. They equate more to a business-type accrual financial statement. For the town of Farragut, really the only significant difference that you're going to see from the fund financial statements are the addition of the capital assets, which net of accumulated depreciation this year is $41 million. The total assets of the town, government-wide, long-term and short-term, are $78,288,329, and that is at 6/30 this year. And the only debt amount is $366,000, and about half of that is your long-term compensated absences that we estimate out for all of the employees until retirement. The net position of the town, it did increase by 7% this year, or about $5.7 million. So the next set of financial statements are on page 23, and these are your governmental, your fund financial statements. And this is what we call, they use the current financial resources measurement focus, and what that means is it's more a modified accrual cash basis type. It's going to focus on your short-term, anything expected to be used or seen within the year. More budget-minded, a lot of you're going to use more on your budget financial statements as well. So the total governmental assets, and this is just your short-term assets at 6/30, were $37 million. And your unrestricted fund balance was 19.6, and that means your unrestricted balance is available to pay anything general spending. So your budget comparison schedules for your general fund starts on page 27. This is what you're going to vote on. This really shows you, okay, this is where we started with our budget, where we ended with our budget, and what our actual numbers are, and how did those compare. The general fund, as I said, is on 27, several pages. Every fund actually has one, but the detailed fund schedules are back on 67. So you'll see a gap there between the notes. And then lastly, your notes to the financial statements. They begin on page 35, and this is a little bit like the management discussion analysis. It gives you a narrative detail, but it's going to point out anything significant on your statement of net position or your statement of activities. There's a few notes I would point your attention to. Note 1 gives you the detail on how the town financial statements are classified, its various accounting policies, and your basic makeup of the statements. Your Note 2 gives a reconciliation of how we get from the governmental to your government-wide. So how do we go from that current cash basis focus to the long-term focus? And anything that you were confused on, it really gives a detailed breakdown of that there. And then lastly, Note 5 gives you your capital asset breakdown. The remainder of the report kind of shows you some various schedules, some 10-year statistical schedules of the town. And then, of course, the very important last page that Allison likes so much, which says there was no findings, no deficiencies. All in all, obviously, the town is in a great financial position. So thank you very much. Are there any questions?
None. Great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Takes good care of us.
Good job. Mine too. Actually, that's
I
what
got her
I
all
did. And it's
back.
like, this 103 looks good. I'm out. I'm good.
Situation.
Okay, next will be approval of minutes. Are there any changes to the posted November 14th, 2019 minutes?
No, sir.
To approve.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Okay, Alderman Burnett will abstain as he was absent. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
The record show that the said minutes will be recorded as official minutes of the November 14th, 2019 Farragut Board and Mayor and Alderman meeting. These items, we have 7 of those listed to review and consider. First off, we'll start with approval of the 2020 snow removal efficiency schedule. Bud McKelvey will read that for us.
Good evening. Trying to find my glasses and I cannot find them, so I guess I left them out. Nope, there they are. All right. This evening before you is the 2019-2020 snow removal schedule. And this will run, through the entire winter. Each year, the staff evaluates the snow removal schedule and the map as the new neighborhoods are developed and roads are added. Many factors are taken into consideration during road evaluation. For example, elevation, number of houses, north-facing slopes, amount of shade, trouble areas reported by our citizens. The snow removal efficiency map and schedule are attached for your review. On the snow removal efficiency map, we have first stage roads that are marked in red and second stage roads that are marked in blue. You all were given the map got any questions about it? There's been no modifications other than the entrance to the park. McPhee and Mayor Bob added this year. We looked at Brass Lantern on McPhee Road, and we're going to wait this year before we, add it. We're going to see how it does. The new subdivision on Virtue has no houses occupied. We don't think anything will be finished in there, and but it will definitely, warrant something next year. And then we'll see how the road between Union and Kingston Pike, the new road, I'm not sure of the name, but when it opens up, we'll see what the use of it is.
Right now, they're calling it Way Station Trail North or something.
North Way Station Trail.
Extension, yeah.
It's we've got it on the map. We kind of drew it in, but we don't have it on the list because it is not an open road at this point in time.
Nothing built on it, so.
Yes, sir. I think there'll be some traffic on it when it's opened, but
Oh, yeah.
we'll evaluate that, and that might be something we modify later on. But if you all have any other questions about this or concerns that have been brought to you all's attention, we can talk about them. Or if you have any questions from us as the Public Works Department.
I noticed you highlighted that there's rubber speed humps. Obviously, you guys know they're there.
No, we don't. That's why I highlighted them.
Off and then put them back on.
We do not like putting them back, but we do knock them off. So this year I added where they are because, I mean, even with just, I mean, as soon as the road turns white, it doesn't make any difference. You can't really define that, especially at night. But if you get a few inches of snow, it doesn't. So I said, guys, I'm going to highlight this in yellow and this. So just a little reminder, when you see that, please don't take out the speed humps.
Okay.
So
Appreciate that.
it's just, they're just hard to put back. I mean, we've got enough to do when the snow's over with. We have enough to do to clean up, vehicles, get everything ready for the next round, fix things. Don't need to be out in the street putting speed humps out.
Okay.
Bud, we've never done Chaho or Glen Abbey. Glen Abbey next to Coles, Chaho across from Ingalls. Those are kind of two neighborhoods that spit out onto the pike.
Yeah, we do those. They're on the list.
They're secondary.
Yeah, they're secondary.
Gotcha.
Yep. Hang on a minute and I'll find them.
Well, Tahoe isn't.
No, that's not on
Chaho's not, but Glen Abbey is.
Yeah. Yeah, Chaho's number 19 on number B.
It's on the list, but not on the map.
Oh, it's just not highlighted on the map.
Okay.
It's good if it's on the list. It's fine.
Okay. I don't have any problems. Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Move to approve the Public Works Department snow removal efficiency schedule and map.
I'll second.
Okay. Looks like we've had discussion, so have a motion with a second. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Okay, let the record show that the 2020 schedule's been approved. Next will be approval of contract 2020-11, Campbell Station wall renovation. Back to Bud again.
Okay. This is our pet project. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider bids and award a contract 2020-11 Campbell Station wall renovation to the chosen contractor. As you all know, this wall is on Campbell Station Road between Sonia and the entrance to the high school, and it was built with a lightweight stone veneer that didn't stay attached to the wall. And as it started to fall off, it created a danger. We cleaned it all off, as you can see in the picture. We've picked out a new finish that you all have seen, which is bricks on the flat face and stacked stone with raised profiles on the columns, and then a precast cement top that hangs over the front and the back, and then pier caps that will be four-sided pier caps to go on each one of the piers. We received we received two bids. Actually, we got three. One came in late, so we did not open it. But we received two bids on November the 26th. These bids are for the labor portion only of the wall. So, and I'll go into that again in just a minute, for installing the brick, the stone, and the caps on the wall. We recommend awarding the bid to Pratt Masonry based on their low bid of $77,000.
I'm going to move to approve the bid and award of contract 2020-11 to Pratt Masonry in the amount of $77,000.
I'll second it.
Okay. I think this bid is more in line with what we had in mind for this project to begin with. When will we be able to start on this project?
We have given them a time period of after notice received. April 30th is their deadline in the contract. And so I gave them a little extra time because these guys they do commercial work, but they do a lot of residential work, and they've been doing stone and brick I've known them for 40 years.
Okay.
And so it is a good price. I'm glad that they bid, and they'll do us a good job.
Weather affected, is it, if it's too cold?
Yeah, if it gets too cold, they won't lay, they won't lay the brick, because you got that moisture that's in that mortar, and if it's cold. Now, with mortar, with cement, it creates a little bit of heat, as it's drying or curing, but you really, you just don't want it to get too cold. So
Are they looking for a stretch of time when the weather will, they probably won't start until March?
No. When I talked to him about doing this once before, when David and I talked, they were so covered up at that point in time. This was back in the spring. They would not be available until December to do anything.
Okay.
And so he says he's going to get on it. When he gets on it, he's estimating about 6 weeks is how long it'll take him to do the whole thing.
He can put the brick ties in regardless of as long as it's not raining, right?
The brick ties will be mechanically fastened, and so what they're going to do is Hilti drill a hole and use a concrete screw that will fasten the brick tie into the concrete.
Okay.
And I also want to bring up, while we're on this contract, because the next one will be off of it, but I went to Farragut High School and Farragut Intermediate School today, and I talked to both of the principals, and I also talked to the athletic director at Farragut High School. The sidewalk is going to have to be closed. There's no way around this. It's just going to have to be closed, and so there's Dr. Bartlett agreed, and the principal at the middle school agreed. There's a back way out of the school that gets you to Sonia Drive, down Sonia Drive, and on down Campbell Station Road. And so we told them that we would notify them when we get a start date, and that we would work with them, but they have to know that we just don't have a choice. There'll be some lane closures on Campbell Station Road through this, because they will literally set up scaffolding that'll go from the wall out to about the edge. The scaffolding's 4 foot wide. So the sidewalk's 5 foot wide, so it'll pretty much cover the entire sidewalk. Plus you'll have pallets of brick laid out all the way down through there, or stone laid out all the way through there. So it's going to be a process. We'll work through it as best we can. Public Works was going to be involved. We have to go in and dig down to the footer so that they can lay some block to bring, the footer's about 30 to 36 inches in the ground. So we have to expose the footer so they can lay some block up about 32 inches up. And so then they'll start their brick from there on. We also have agreed that we would seal the wall to keep the moisture effervescent problem of moisture coming through the wall into the back of the brick. There'll be an air gap in there, and it's vented, but we'll do this sealing, spray it, yes, with a water
Do you have
sealant.
to clean that block off first, or can you spray right over what's there?
No, you spray it. We'll just spray it on there. Yeah. And so I told David we would go in there and do that work ourselves. We would do the dig out. We're going to rent a machine as soon as we get approval from you all to move forward. Rent a machine, and we'll dig that out, and we'll have barrels down through there the whole way where it's dug out to protect it. And also, when he's ready to come in, it'll be ready for him. And that's what we have to do on the front end.
Hey, Bud, what kind of warranty will come with this?
I didn't put in and I didn't ask him for a warranty, but the way we have it designed, it's just like, the stone that's on your house or the brick that's on your house, it'll be laid on a footer, brought up with brick ties, the whole way up.
It'll be done the right way.
Okay.
All right. The town will be the general contractor or the overseer of this project. And so we're going to make sure that they do it the way that they bid it, the way we ask. I was very specific in the plans, what I wanted, when I drew them up. And so this is a totally different system than stick and stone.
Any more discussion?
I'm not.
Okay, looks like we have a motion and a second. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Okay, let the record show that the let the record show that the contract 2020-11 has been approved. Next will be part 2 of this, approval of bids for project material for the Campbell Station wall renovation.
Okay, the purpose of this agenda item is to approve the purchase of the project materials for the completion of the Campbell Station wall. As you all know about the wall and this stone, I don't need to repeat that, but we received one bid for the purchase of the materials to complete the wall, which will include bricks, mortar, sand, vents, wall ties, etc. And we recommend awarding the purchase to General Shale for the cost of $57,337.92.
I'm going to move for approval of bid and award purchase agreement to General Shell Brick in the amount of $57,337.92.
I'll second.
Okay.
I got a quick question, and maybe it's a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It says less tax adjustment. What is that? Because we're a government entity?
No, when they bid, they put tax on the bid, and we give them tax exempt certificate. We have an account with them, and so he just put the tax in there, but we had to separate the tax off. But I wanted to show it that way because that's exactly how the bid came in. And so that's the true cost of $57,337. I've talked to General Shell, the salesman. It's going to be about 5 tractor trailer loads of brick that's going to come in. We're not going to get it all at once, but we're going to order it all at once so we get the same lot. And so the color shouldn't be big color differences where we get some now and get some later. But they're not going to bring it out all at once because we don't have the storage capacity.
You'll stage it then?
Yes. So we got bricks, we got sand, we got mortar. The water is going to be we put a tap on the where the reduced pressure backflow preventer comes up out of the classroom. We actually put a tap where they can hook a hose, so we'll run across the school entrance with a hose over there. So they'll be mixing on the south end of the wall in that grass area, and then we will help them move the bricks. They're going to deliver the bricks on pallets, and so we'll use a piece of our equipment to pick them up and move them where they need to go. So like I said, we're going to be heavily involved in helping them out with this, and make it a good project.
It looks like being our own GC on this project, we'll have a good chance of staying within the planned budget.
Can I have a bonus? I already asked David that question. He told me to ask you all, so I thought, if I'm saving the town that much money.
I get a bonus first. That's all I got to say.
I'm just kidding.
Saying what I'm getting.
There you go.
My bonus for this project is it being finished.
Yes.
So, and I think that's what the end goal is, for us to get that completely finished and get it back to the way it looks good and everybody be proud of it. So, I'm just glad we were able to work it out.
Mention too that when we first got the bids on this project, we were looking at $350,000, and we quickly rejected those because they were just way over our budget. But with Bud, he and I had a long conversation about whether Public Works was going to be able to step in and really take on some of those GC opportunities there. And it's going to be a big job for them, and it's going to take up a lot of time. So I think the main thing is you're going to have to understand if something comes up and they're working out there, they're going to have to finish that job first before they move on. But overall, being able to save over 100% of the cost of the original bid is going to be significant.
Yep.
And we're able to get it under budget and hopefully on time and where it needs to be. So appreciate Bud, and all your guys getting on this.
And in this also, the stone, we will buy the stone. The stone's under $10,000, and so we'll be buying the stone as part of this. But still, when we talk about the stone, we talk about the cost to rent a piece of equipment, and I've showed David all those numbers. We're still going to be, it's not going to be it's still going to be a lot less, a whole lot less. Even from our budget, it's going to be a lot less. So
Well, I really appreciate your efforts on this, Bud. This has been a long process, and we're all looking forward to finally seeing it completed.
Yes.
And completed, we're struggling with a lot of bids that have been coming over, so it's nice to see one coming under budget, and I appreciate your efforts. We didn't vote yet.
No, any more discussion? If not, I have a motion with a second. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Any noes? No? Okay, let the record show the approval of the bid and award purchase agreement to General Shell Brick for the amount of $57,337.92.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next will be approval of the contract for control access and security system.
Howdy, folks. On October 15th, we published an RFP for physical security in all of our facilities, all of our buildings. There was 5 respondents to that original RFP. Like I said, it covers all of our buildings, and the focus was on employee security, protection of our assets, and risk management along the lines of access control, surveillance systems, burglar alarms, that kind of stuff. During the RFP process, I asked the vendors to give best proposals for those items, and then for all 5 respondents, contacted them many times over the phone, provided building plans, and actually did on-site interviews, walked around and looked at all of the facilities, and basically picked their brains on what they believe was the best case scenario or the best way to secure our facilities. With that, we did get several bids. That's put up on you guys see that there. We selected, it wasn't the cheapest bid, but it was the best proposal that came in. We selected the second lowest priced bid that was there. We selected the proposal that best fit our needs with quality equipment and the expertise of the respondent themselves. And with that, that's really all that is. We did come under budget. How about that? Do I get a bonus? David said I could get a bonus. He didn't say no to me. He said no to Bud. He didn't say no to me.
We should make an
And
ordinance.
there's something else to add. In the original budget, we'd only budgeted for the town hall and the community center, but with the other, they also did proposals for the Dimick House and Camel Station Inn and the Public Works building, so we are able to get all of those within our budget and the monitoring for the year. So we went ahead and added those to our to-do list.
That was a great cost on, a great price on the monitoring.
I'm sorry, sir?
I said it was a great price on the monitoring for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Over and above the price that you were able to negotiate on the rest of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve the bid and award of contract for control access and security system to Knox Integrated Systems.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got some questions.
Let's,
With this system, do we have enough cameras to adequately to look at what we need to look at?
okay, so going off the expertise of the vendor, I believe we have covered all the bases. To add a camera, we have built in expansion into the DVRs that we've purchased. So if we did need to add a camera, it'd just be the cost of the camera itself and whatever labor it took to screw it to the wall, run some cables. So I believe we covered enough.
Didn't say the amount. So I need to amend the motion because I didn't say the amount. In the amount of $51,690.
So noted.
Thank you.
Are these motion activated or the constant or what do we got here?
They're not going to be, well, I don't want to go too deep into the actual security piece on this because,
I don't expect that.
don't want to give up too much. They are motion sensitive. They will capture that.
Okay.
But we have also, in conjunction with the cameras and the motion sensors through that camera system, there are other security apparatuses or devices that are in place to capture that as well.
Okay. Is this some sort of NVR recording or is this a DVR?
DVRs.
DVR? Okay.
DVRs.
You like that better?
Yes, while going back to access control, the DVRs will be in access controlled areas, locked down, where access to them, so someone can just run in, grab one, and leave. So I do like the DVRs better. They're just faster, proven technology. I just like them. And the vendor also decided to go that way as well.
Okay. Now, does the senior center have their own system separate from ours?
Senior Center well, once again, I don't want to get too far into it, but their system is separate from ours.
Okay, great. Are we monitoring the elevator from downstairs as well?
We'll monitor motion in that area.
Okay, great. And does the community center doors have alarms when they're open from the inside, or is that recorded by the system?
There are alarms on the community center doors, yes.
That's all the questions I have. Anyone else? Okay, with that, no
I
more-
do have one question.
Okay.
The doors, what type of, is it a key card? Is it what?
They're called Prox cards, and that's the manufacturer of them. They have a little strip in them. So the plan is to create ID badges, and those ID badges for town employees or whoever we hand them out to are actually the access cards themselves.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
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 Any noes? Let the record show that the contract with Knox Integrated Systems for control access and security systems has been approved. Thank you, Joe. Okay, next will be approval request for a residential driveway onto Everett Road for a proposed dwelling at 750 Everett Road. And I think Joe Baga is the applicant. If you want to step over to the microphone, please. Mark, you.
Yes, this involves a request for an access permit off of Everett Road. It's kind of on the north end of Everett Road, not too far before you get to the interstate on the east side. It's for a proposed dwelling unit at 750 Everett Road. It's currently a vacant lot. Since Everett Road is classified as a major collector, a non-local street, it is required to be access onto that street is required to go through the Planning Commission for a recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. The town staff did look at this location and are comfortable with where it's proposed. And it was also reviewed by the Planning Commission at their meeting on November 21st, and they unanimously recommended approval of the requested driveway location. There was a subject to related to that approval. They do have to still obtain a right-of-way permit through our engineering department. And as part of that, we work with the applicant on ensuring that if they have to put a storm sewer drain in, that it's proper size and material and everything like that. And then that at least the right-of-way portion of the driveway, which typically is 10 to 15 feet from the street edge, is paved or concrete, something that's not just gravel, so that gravel doesn't trickle out into the street. So with those stipulations, the town staff recommends approval of the requested access permit.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, discussion. Are you comfortable with doing the request by our engineering department?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll go ahead and state your name and address, please.
Jill Bugga. I hope to live at 750 Everett Road in Knoxville.
Yes, that was a discussion we had at the Planning Commission level as well, just making sure that she had clarity about what we were requiring. So she'll work with town staff and make sure that that's handled, so.
And there's no, by putting this in, there's no drainage that's going to come from that will be on a neighbor?
No, there shouldn't be.
Okay.
No, engineering's been out there. Their field crews already worked with them on a temporary access for construction.
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Bago?
None
By the
here.
board? Sure. None? Okay, then I'll ask if all in favor vote by saying yes.
Yes.
No, no no's. Let the record show the request has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, next will be approval of request for residential driveway on the Boyd Station Road for the property of 1024 McPhee Road. Lisa and Robert Gibson are the applicants.
This
Mark?
is also an access request. The property owner actually owns these two tracts on the screen. Their house is actually on McPhee Road where the existing driveway is at 1024. Then they have a vacant tract that mostly fronts along Boyd Station Road, and they're requesting to have a curb cut onto Boyd Station Road. It would be approximately 250 feet from the edge of McPhee Road, which does meet it exceeds the minimum distance of 200 feet. There are no other curb cuts on either side of the road. Of course, you have the railroad to the south. And they, Boyd Station Road is also classified as a collector, major collector, so that's why it's come before the Planning Commission and now to you all. The Planning Commission did unanimously recommend approval of the curb cut as requested, with the same stipulations that they provided for the Everett Road curb cut. They said they would need to work with the town and obtain a right-of-way permit, make sure they coordinate the storm sewer placement, materials, and all that, and improve at least the right-of-way portion of the driveway itself. So with those stipulations, the staff recommends approval of the access requested onto Boyd Station Road.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this one?
Mark, what does the proposed driveway lead to?
Well, they have kind of a little track that kind of, I guess, I don't know if it's some of their grandkids or just basically so that if you did need to access that portion of the property, which is about as large as their McPhee Road tract, that they don't have to go, from the driveway and then back through the backyard to get to that portion of their land, so that they have a secondary means of access in that property.
How long is that driveway going to be?
I'm not sure how long it will be.
You're going to go completely through. It looks like
Yeah,
it's
that's
pretty
what-
short. I mean,
All that we really looked at was the cut itself.
And the drainage?
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
drainage. Once it gets onto their property, because they have so much land, it's not going to be a coverage issue. It should be about a 15-foot wide driveway, I think is what she explained to me.
That would cover the right-of-way portion of the,
And then the right-of-way portion, the applicant understands that has to be
Okay.
improved. It can't be just gravel or dirt. Because if you don't have that stipulation and the gravel gets washed out into the road every time it rains, and, people bicycling, for example, that creates a safety issue for sure for a road cyclist.
I don't want it banging up my car either.
Well, that too, yeah. I see it from a cycling perspective, but
Sure, yeah.
but anyway.
I mean, if it's just a curb cut, I was just making sure that
It
people
is.
understood that it's not, if we're looking at not allowing cars to park on grass, that could be something,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
If we end up creating that kind of provision, we'll have to watch that for
Yeah.
the property, that and any other properties that might.
I didn't bother to look up the zoning on that corner lot. What is zoning on that corner lot? Do you know?
I think it's R2. I'm not positive. It's either residential or agricultural one. It's either that type of residential or agricultural. I don't remember right offhand.
Oh, hold on a second. She's
Where are we looking? Right here. It's R1?
be the first
One.
No?
Okay.
Fee and Boyd Station. Be this one.
maybe I should sit
Oh,
over
that's
there.
McPhee, is that, no, that's, this is McPhee. So it's R1.
got it. I'm thinking it was R1.
Yep, that's R1. This is the Shad property.
Yeah.
So it's R1.
It is R1, okay. Okay. It's over an acre, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't need a variance because it is
Okay, that's-
over 200
That's
feet.
where I was going.
Yeah.
Not surprised at all, it is, actually. If any of us do,
Have
you
zoning
would.
map, we'll travel.
I probably should have known.
I have all my
I knew it
financial
was
reports in my trunk, if you're interested.
A motion with a second. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
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 No? No noes, so let the record show the motion was approved. I assume there was not an applicant in the audience. There's not, okay. Okay, next will be approval of professional services agreement for legislative services with Lane Communications.
Mayor, this is a continuation of services. We've been utilizing Lane Communications for 4 years now. Chuck Lane is the proprietor of Lane Communications. They've been done an outstanding job of monitoring legislation, helping us avert legislation that would be detrimental to the town and getting those things modified, as well as helping us get some of our things that we wanted as priorities, such as the hotel motel tax authorization to even have a tax shepherded through the legislature a couple of years ago. So this would be again a continuation of services with Lane Communications. It would be a 3-year contract. The first 2 years of the contract would be for $25,000 annually, and the third year would be for $30,000. I know Chuck's here tonight to answer any questions for the board, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as well. We recommend approval.
I'm going to move to approve the professional services agreement between Town of Farragut and Lane Communications for legislative services.
Second.
Okay, Chuck, since you've been sitting there very patient all this time, let's see if you ought to at least be able to get up and say something.
Well, he is a citizen of the Town of Farragut, so it's good to have our citizens attending our meetings.
That's right. Do you need to know my address? Chuck Lane, 12227 South Foxden Drive.
Okay.
Good to be here, by the way.
Glad you're
And yeah, and don't worry, as you know, if you've been with me before, to Nashville, I'm used to sitting through long meetings.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily apply to me until it comes my turn. So. Anything, and Ezra, I've really enjoyed serving the town. Of course, it's my hometown, and so I get extra pleasure in it. And we've had a lot of successes, as David has said, and y'all have been a part of it, and many of you have helped make that happen. And so we'll continue the same process that we've had through the years because we've been so successful, unless something changes, and if it does, then we'll modify it at that time. But it is a year-round. I spend my time when session's not in with the mayor and David when things come up. And David and I talk on a regular basis, and we watch legislation, and so we'll identify legislation for you just like we always did, present it to you guys, let you decide which ones you want us to keep an eye on, and then we'll provide regular updates to you when session's going on, which is from January till usually around the 1st of May, every week.
So Chuck, we were able to attend the TML legislative update last week.
Yes, ma'am.
The two Rons, me and David, and Trevor was there as well. And from TML's perspective, and I'm not sure if you're aware or not, they're looking at the decoupling of the state shared sales tax. Can't remember what that one's about. Is that the 6436 and the increase in the single article cap, the inadequacy of BEP, which doesn't necessarily affect the municipality, but
Right.
it does. We're very interested because Knox County takes a hit every year from their BEP. In fact, we lost money last year. So it was quite significant.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that for sure.
I'm also concerned personally, and I don't know how far, I guess it's brought up every year, is the red light cameras. That's brought up as a discussion to get rid of, and I've talked to Jason already, but I'll give you my point. It's not about the revenue to me. This is a safety issue. And I feel like the state keeps on taking away the things that we need for safety issue, and then and expecting us to be able to put in sheriff's deputies to monitor these situations. We're trying to make a pedestrian-friendly community, and we have our red light cameras at the particular, especially around the schools. We lost a child years ago from somebody who blew off a red light, and if they're so concerned about this, people thinking it's a funding issue, then dedicate the funding to safety, into safety funding issues.
Sure.
Which I have no problem because that's what we need. How do we make these intersections pedestrian friendly, and how do we make them safer? Because that is something that's been driven from the federal government. They're requiring the states to collect safety information, traffic deaths, even on from highways down to local roads. Now, I'm not sure if they have anything tied to it yet, but there is that possibility, and we have a problem in Tennessee. And
I have not heard of anything on the, of course, you never know till you get over there, so, something can happen in between, but I haven't heard of anything in the last 2 or 3 years trying to do away with the red light cameras. What they have done is you don't have to pay the fine. You get the bill and it scares you and you end up paying, so that's generally what happens, but that was the way they got around that law. And it was very controversial when it came out. Unfortunately, not most people feel like you do. Most voters don't have your opinion. They get a ticket for. What really started it bad here was the right turn on red down there by the CVS. It wasn't even a road, and then there's a lot of people turned right there and didn't stop or whatever. I forgot what it was, but everybody had a pocket full of those, and so they contacted the local state rep and started raising Cain, and they weren't the only ones. The count was all over the state, and by the time I started this contract, David asked me, was there anything, and I said, I'm afraid that ship sailed. However, maybe we can keep them where they are a deterrent,
yes,
even if there's not a fine. So,
yeah.
But we'll keep an eye on it. If I hear anything, we'll let you know.
Well, they did at the end of last session. They sent out a request to know how much. I think it was Tasser sent out a request. How much money are these entities making from it? And of course, we reported it. But to me, I just want to make it clear so that we can relay that argument on. I called Jason and told him this is tie the funds to some kind of pedestrian safety program. We need that. We need that in the state. We need this in our community.
Absolutely.
People are driving too fast, and people are looking for pedestrian-friendly areas, and it's ridiculous that you take your life in your hand when you walk down your road. So,
Exactly. I agree.
I'm getting off my soapbox now.
That's all right. Anybody else got any thoughts?
Yeah, Chuck,
Drew?
good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Excited to extend the partnership. It was good spending time with you in Nashville earlier, I guess this year.
Right.
But the work that you and Roxanne do is very, very valuable, and we got to see firsthand what the relationships and what the lobbying side of that looks like. So we appreciate it and excited to extend it.
Absolutely, and I should say, one of the things that is very important is when you guys do come over, if we've got a bill that we need to do and something, David, some of you do, and then I'll still, sponsor or have you guys when you come over, usually with Municipal League when they're there, and you're already over there for meetings anyway, and then we go visit all our reps and anybody that we need to see at the time. So we'll still sponsor that and make that go. And of interesting news, Roxanne is working for TDEC now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. So it's not all bad when you look at it from that standpoint. But anyway, they approached her, and we talked about it, and it was a really good move for her at this time in her life. And so I'm in the process of restructuring and determining who I'll have next. So next year when you come, next year when you come, there'll be somebody different, but that we'll still do what we always did and keep the reports up and all that thing.
It should be based down in Knoxville, or?
Yes, and that was one of the things that made it. Her children are getting to the age where she didn't need to be gone quite as much. And we do also run a statewide organization, a Tennessee Mining Association. And so there were many times during off session that we would have to, like if you're going to have a meeting in Memphis, you almost have to spend the night, so it's a night away. So works out better.
I also forgot to mention I think it's coming back up is the reducing the state administrative fee for the local option sales tax. Are you still working on that, John? Okay. There's stuff that I'm sorry, John. I'm going to point this to you. There's things that we have common interest in, and I'm not sure if it would help to have a common resolution. But if you ever think that is of any assistance, we're happy to sign on board because we're all kind of in the same boat here. So nothing else, though.
I have nothing.
John, you want to come up and say something?
Just so he's. John Schoonmaker again, Knox County Commission. Just so you're aware too, the Tennessee Municipal League and the Tennessee County Services Association is working on the bill to alter the single article sales tax. You know, when you go to buy a luxury item over let's say $5,000 or a car or whatever, the first $1,600 are taxed at the 7% rate plus the 2.25% rate, which goes to the town of Farragut, City of Knoxville, or Knox County. The second $1,600 is taxed at 7% for the state. The 2.25% additional goes to the state. So we're now asking for that 2.25% to come back to the locality. And so that way, it doesn't affect any of the consumers. They're still paying the same amount of sales tax. And of course, then anything over the $3,200 amount, it's just 7% to the state. So that's one other thing that's new this year.
How much does that represent that the state's getting that you would want?
The number keeps going around. I'm not sure of the exact amount, but basically the way they're going to look at it is that, yes, the state would be losing, but it's going back to the local government. So it's not like it's going to some other entity.
Local government begin with. That's our
Exactly,
local sales
exactly,
tax.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Keep after that one.
Okay.
Anything else? Well, thank you. Well, you hadn't voted yet, so maybe I ought to hold on. Hold on. I always count my votes.
Well, looks like we do have a motion and a second. All in favor, vote by saying yes.
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 Okay, let the record show that the motion for professional services agreement for legislative services with Lane Communications has been approved.
Thank you very much. Very excited about continuing working with you guys. Thank
Will
you.
you give Roxanne our best, please?
I sure will. I'll tell her. I'll call her tomorrow. Tell her what happened.
Okay, tonight we have one ordinance on the agenda for public hearing, and this will be on the second reading. It'll be ordinance 19-29. This is an ordinance to amend the Farragut Municipal Code, Chapter 105, Article 2, Section 105-20, E and F, concerning construction types and sprinkling, word again, for certain size and story structures.
I'm going to try not to use that word tonight, as I made it through last time without butchering it, so I don't think I could do it again. This is just an ordinance that corrects an existing error in the language that we adopted back in April when we adopted the 2018 Code of Ordinances. And specifically, the town has adopted certain modifications that are in excess of the standard International Building Code minimum requirements, specifically as they relate to buildings that are more than 7,000 square feet, gross square feet, or more than 2 stories. But in the language that we adopted back in April, it actually says not more than 2 stories. So that's the exact opposite of what the intention was. So this ordinance simply corrects that language as it applies to construction type for these type, size, and height buildings, and whether they are sprinklered. I did end up using it, but per the International Building Code. So this was reviewed at first reading and recommended for approval. There haven't been any changes to this ordinance since first reading, and the staff recommends approval of ordinance 19-29 on second reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Looks like not, so with motion and second, ask for a roll call vote.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Yes.
Alderman Pinchuk.
Yes.
Alderman Pavlin.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Let the record show ordinance 19-29 has passed on the second reading. Okay, next will be the town administrator's report. David, we've covered a lot, but I'm sure you have something to report.
I do have a few things. Whenever our employees work very diligently and very hard, and many of them have several certifications that they have to maintain in order to do their jobs. Recently, Carl Swearsko, our building official, was able to get his commercial inspector, residential inspector, commercial mechanical inspector, residential mechanical inspector, and residential plumbing inspector certifications through the state of Tennessee. He's been, I think, he's had his certificates from Florida, and I guess when you come up to Tennessee, you need to get updated here. So he's been working diligently on getting all those updated. So that's a lot of tests to take over that period of time.
A lot of knowledge packed in one head.
A lot, that's correct. And also our new hire, Chris Brown, who's not new to the town, but new to the Code Enforcement Division, he received his building inspector certification. So that's a great start. He got that at a really quick time frame, too. He studied hard on that and is already getting after it. So we're really excited for Chris, and I know he'll be taking other certifications as he gets into those. Another couple of certifications that our town staff in the Parks Department recently received. Ryan Rodas and Brittany Spencer both received their Certified Park and Recreational Professional certifications. So that makes just about everybody in that department certified as a Park and Rec professional. So again, great kudos to all those staff for the hard work they're doing. Finally, we are working diligently to get us in the community center and the senior center. I know the senior center is going to be opening up a few days before us, but we're having a big ribbon cutting plan for January 16th at 10 a.m., and we're looking forward to that and excited about that. So just put that on your calendar, and we're going to have a great day that day. So with that, I have nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you, David. And we've already had our report from Tom, our town attorney. So anyone in Citizens Forum?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other board items from anyone else? Yep, it looks like we run about an hour tonight, so if there's no objection, then we will be adjourned. Bunches. Fortunately, it's not those Christmas checks I did all.